Nigeria is not working, not because of the people that reside in it, not because of the land, not because of the geographical location of the country. Nigeria is simply not working because the system is completely broken. The system is shattered. Take for instance, in countries like Germany. Germany have 16 regions. America have 50 states. India has 28 states. Canada has 10 provinces. And if you look at these countries, they also have massive populations. But they are successful. You can't compare them with Nigeria. Why are they successful? They are successful because each subunit in these countries can manage their affairs by themselves. It is different from Nigeria. Even UK, for instance, too. UK also adopted the same regionalism. So, you cannot compare these countries with Nigeria. Nigeria is such a country where everything will have to pass through Abuja. Imagine making a policy for over 200 million people. Does it make any sense? It does not make any sense. The simple solution is that we must go back to regional government. We need to adopt system that is progressive, system that would allow each region to manage their affairs. That is the only way we can move forward as a country.
The interest of Yoruba people now in this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not be anything other than calling for power devolution and regional government, where every region is grouped according to their ethnic, linguistic identity. Hear me out. I'm talking to the Yoruba people. It's not everybody that wants regional government. It's not everybody that wants true federalism. So this is why I'm personalizing it to the Yorubas. Yes, not all want it. Some want a state indigenous bill where they will be able to call other people's territory no man's land, backed by the system, just like we have seen Benjamin Kalu proposing. Some are pushing for settler colonization, and don't be surprised because Olodumare has already blessed Yoruba land. Yoruba land is the heartbeat of Nigeria. We have the ocean, we have the river, we have the highland. Nature has already blessed Yoruba land. That is why people will always desire to settle here. That is why we are the pace setter and heartbeat of this nation. But you must be wary of settlers who are colonists. Why? Because Yoruba land is rich, and the settler does not colonize a barren land. No! The colonization of Britannia by the Romans, Anglo-Saxons, and Vikings was due to its beauty as an island. That area you now call Istanbul suffered in history because of its beauty, because of its naturalness. Humans will always want to settle and colonize a beautiful atmospheric environment and land where they can see serenity, nature, and sea. That is why Yoruba land must be protected from any form of settler colonialism. That is why Lagos must be protected from any form of settler colonialism, because there is only one Lagos in Africa, the only state with English and Yoruba name, a very small island desired by all, because it is human nature to desire good things, but it is you, the indigenous, who must reject any form of settler colonialism so that you will not lose your land through it. You see, the crazy part is that once the real indigenous lose their land, the new occupier will do everything they have to protect it and make it survive. Yes, that is how it has always happened in history. Go and fact check. That island, which we call the British Isles today, was first occupied by the Celts. It belongs to the Celts. The Germanic Anglo-Saxon tribe came, fought them, displaced them, and took the majority of their land and settled on it. When Vikings later discovered the island and wanted to take it from the Germanic Saxon tribe, who had now settled the land and ruled England after they have driven the Celts to the deep forest of Britannia, guess what? The Anglo-Saxons made sure they did what they could to protect it from the Vikings. The Vikings' raid on them was something obvious, that they had only one intention: to exterminate the whole of Anglo-Saxon and take possession of their highland. But the Anglo-Saxon protected it with their last kingdom. They did what they could to survive. They did everything to protect England because they know how they had settled there and displaced the real indigenous people who are the Celts, now in present day Scotland, from that land. Once indigenous people lose their land, trust me, you can never have it again. And history will always help you to do the documentation. Look at what Trump is doing. Look at it. This is a land we all know they are not the real indigenous because it belongs to the native Indian. But because they know what they did to settle that land, they will do everything to also protect it. When your land is rich, you must always be wary of settler colonists. You must be. Settler does not colonize barren land. You see, this is not the era of medieval times when the only means settler could colonize land was through war, violence, displacement, or chaos. This is 21st century. Manipulation, gaslighting, tribal occupation of your politics and economic sector is the fastest method settler colonies now using in 21st century. Once your land has been referred to as no man's land, it is a form of settler colonialism. Once they are desperate to buy your land legally and illegally, it's a form of settler colonialism. The same desperation to colonize your land is why they are ready to buy any illegal land, illegal properties, as long as it is in Lagos. When the law now catches up with them, they will start playing devil's advocate, looking for social media sympathy, as if they don't know what they bought, as if they are not aware of it. Some will even tell you all land belongs to God, as if it was not the same God who put indigenous people in charge of it. Be wary. It's all form of settler colonialism. Nigeria is a country where every region, ethnic and tribe have their own interest. The interest of Yoruba people is self-governance and regional autonomous. Yes, now is to call for regional autonomy as a way to protect our land from settler colonists who see it as nothing but no man's land. Yes, because our rich cultural heritage, fertile soil and vast resources in Yoruba land has always been a magnet for those seeking to exploit its bounty. But you must not let history repeat itself. How Yoruba lost Ilori must always be a historical reference to all Yoruba Omoluabi for them to be wary of settler colonialism. We must protect our land, our culture, and our future by demanding true autonomy and self-determination for the Yoruba people. Regional autonomy is not just a matter of politics, it is a matter of survival. Let us stand united and assert for our right to our land and our future.
Except, of course, those who would want to continue to live in denial. First, Nigeria is a pluralistic country. And like all successful pluralistic countries around the world, for its stability and maximal development, its constitution must address its pluralism by being formulated by elected representatives of its diverse peoples. Our present 1999 Constitution, as amended, is not such a constitution. It was not democratically formulated. It was instead imposed on the country through a decree by the military administration. And the governance system derived from it is not only non-inclusive, but also induces over-expenditure of the nation's resources on administration rather than on capital development. Hence, the need for a new constitution made by the peoples of our country. There are also equally incontrovertible facts about the current situation in our country. First, there is serious insecurity of life and property, with kidnappings and killings happening virtually every day in most parts of the country, especially in the Middle Belt, the Northeast, the Northwest regions, where not only huge numbers of life and property are regularly lost, but also farmers are no longer able to go to their farms, thereby impacting adversely on the country's food supply. Secondly, Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world, with the levels of poverty and sufferings among the citizens rising rather than diminishing. And thirdly, the development of the country's infrastructure is generally lagging behind, including especially in health and education facilities, which in many cases are no longer fit for purpose. Fourthly, there is eroding sense of national unity within a pluralistic country that is still struggling to become a nation. Again, there is a palpable mood of hopelessness and lack of confidence in the future among the growing population of our young people. And overall, the present 36 federating units are obviously incapable of generating and sustaining the pace of national development achieved in the early years of our independence under the 1963 Constitution. In organizing this national summit, the Patriots are of the view that the incontrovertible facts that I have mentioned can be more effectively reversed if our pluralistic country is given a more credible and truly federal constitution, democratically made by the Nigerian people, a constitution that would be in sync with the constitutions of successful pluralistic countries around the world. To those who say that the fate of a country depends primarily on its leadership, I say that the constitution from which the system of governance is derived largely determines the character of the people who get elected or appointed to govern the country from the three arms of the government. It is therefore my hope that the deliberations of this summit, which has in attendance so many leaders of thought and representatives of the country's major socio-cultural groups, as well as representatives of the important women and youth sections of our society, will produce recommendations on the key elements of the desired new constitution and the process of its actualization. The key elements, I hope, that will be discussed should include such questions as presidential or parliamentary system, tenure and rotation of the heads of government at the national and sub-national levels, unicameral or bicameral legislature, number of federating units, powers of the national and the sub-national governments, structure of the security agencies, political parties and their organization, management of the country's resources, and indeed other important features of a constitution. And in considering the process of actualizing the new constitution, I hope there would be due emphasis on ensuring that it is formulated by representatives specifically elected for that purpose by the Nigerian people, who, in order to give it legitimacy, would have to endorse it in a national referendum.
I'm going to give you some examples. But first, because the Constitution is the birth certificate of a country, is what tells us what system of government that country practices. Is it federalism? Is it unitarism? Is it monarchy? Is it what type of government? Is the Constitution that tells us about rules of engagement. For example, Sean, you are going from here to Plateau State, Jos. You have to pass through this place here, Lafia. Then also, you will be going because you are facing Jos. You will pass through Akwanga. You get to Do. Then you get to Jos. That is the only way you can get it because you are going to Jos. Compare with someone who is going to Jos. And then he decides to face Lokoja. He gets to Okene. He gets to Auchi. He gets to Benin. He takes there to Saple. He starts going to Bayelsa. He is not going to get to Kaduna. What will he do? He must reset by refocusing and coming back.
From your explanation, it does look like Nigeria has been heading for the last almost 20 years to a journey of nowhere.
Oh, you say journey to no destination. Let me give you another.
Just a moment.
Let me give you another example.
Just a moment, Prof. I want us to be empirical and very analytical in our conversation tonight. And in your explanation and in the wisdom of the Patriots, and I see the group there, led by Chief Emeka Anyaoku, I see the likes of Ben Obi, the likes of Senator Shehu Sani. Yeah. These cut across political bias.
No, it's not. It's even non-political.
It's a political
it's non-partisan. For example, I am not a politician.
Yeah, but you see the personalities there. They are Nigerians, eminent Nigerians. So for them to say, and in their major submission to the president, to say that we need Nigerians represented by every ethnic group in a room fixing Nigeria's problems. What are Nigeria's problems? And I, for example, I like to poke your mind. Your intellectual mind, of course, this time around. Maybe not the legal part of your mind. Can you identify 3 of the most pressing problem of Nigeria that we can contextualize into our conversation? What would you say, Prof, if you have the solution on your left hand to fix the problem? What would you identify as 3 major Nigeria problems?
The first one I will identify is lack of nationhood. Nigeria is a country still yearning for nationhood.
What does that mean?
What it means is that we are not united. We are still what Chief Obafemi Awolowo once called a piece of geographical expression. Ahmadu Bello once said it was a piece of historical mistake. Because we were cobbled together on 3rd January 2014 by Lord Lugard, the Southern and Northern Confederates, and the Lagos Colony. After Nigeria had been given her name by a young British author who wrote in the London Financial Times of 8th January 1897, calling it Nigeria, that Niger area. Mm-hmm. That is first major problem. In other words, we were cobbled together through the direct and indirect rule system that we were operating, with all of us already enjoying our independence. The Benin Empire, the Oyo Empire, the Kanem Bonu Empire, the ancient Ife. We were already independent, having our own systems of government, and we were happy. Jaja for Pobu, Nana of Ichekiri, Oba of Veramino Baise of Benin, who beat the British back with bare knuckles, for which he was deported to Calabar, where he lived and died 27 years later. So such people that were already used to their independence and ways of life, to put them together and say they cannot now discuss their future.
Is it the reason for the agitation we see in Nigeria? This idea of lack of nationhood.
In fact, it is the beginning and the end of it. I can assure you that you were talking about 3 problems. I identified that one major problem. If you don't have nationhood, and nobody believes in Nigeria as a country, if I ask you, Shehu, where are you from? You won't say I'm in Nigeria. You first quickly mention your village, and then your state. Then you are filling a form. After asking you for your name, the next question is place of origin. You put it town, they say local government. You put it, they say state. You put it, then they say religion. You are already being typified. You are already being profiled to know whether what we want here can come to you or not come to you.
But how do we resolve this? Because either we like it, you are an Ozekome.
Yeah.
You have your origin.
Yes.
You are of the Edo origin.
Yes.
And
good day to our viewers all over the world, and welcome back to Local Journal. We've seen the effort of the Patriots trying to do everything to salvage the situation in the country and what Nigeria is passing through today. Day in, day out, they keep on putting in the work and calling on the federal government to do the needful to facilitate the bill or facilitate this idea of going back to regional government. The Patriots have been doing a whole lot, and we have to give kudos to them because this work they are putting in is something many people never expected, and this is what most Nigerians should be channeling their energy into promoting and into ensuring that it is implemented. We know that they alone cannot do this work. They need our effort as well. They need our voices as well to come together to make our voices louder so that we can put pressure on the central government to take us back to regional government. Nigeria is a pluralistic country, and the earlier we understand this and accept this, the better for us. We want to make it a kind of a singular country, which is not going to augur well for the country, because that is the reason why this country is stagnated till date. Countries that Nigeria got her independence before are doing perfectly well today, and countries who were not organized, who were disorganized because they were practicing this unitary system, like Slovakia and the rest, who are divided and doing very well today, are doing so because they embrace their plurality and pluralism, and decided to like a kind of divide, separate into various countries and sections, and it's paying off today. So why can't Nigeria take the same route? Why can't we just go the same way? This is something we're practicing before. It's not as if it's something we're trying to start new. It's a constitution that we're using before, and it was working perfectly well for us before Aguiyi returned us back to the unitary system. So we can't say because we've been returned back to the unitary system and a few people are benefiting from this 1999 constitution that we're going to maintain it and we're not going to change it. We need to force the National Assembly to do the bidding of the masses. We need to organize a referendum. We need to put pressure on the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm of government to do what they are supposed to do. If not, if we fail, they are going to do it at their own convenience or at their own will, there is no way these guys are going to do it, because this unitary system that we're practicing in the country today, it favors them a lot. It creates room and vacuum for corruption, and it creates room for manipulation, it creates room for division, and it creates room for favoritism and a whole lot of things and injustice. That is the reason why we need to go back to regional government, so that everybody will go back to their own region, and so that we can hold our regional administrators accountable. Like now in Nigeria today, under this current dispensation now, everybody holds the president responsible, even though the president disburses money to the state governor. They feel our state governor are not supposed to be held responsible. But this is it. Leadership starts from the grassroots. Look at your local government, look at the chairman, look at the councillors, the chairman, and even the commissioners down to the governor of your state. Have you been able to hold them accountable at all? This is actually because this constitution is not functioning well, and everybody's eye is on the center. Everybody thinks that it's only the president that holds the final say, and it's only the president that can better their lives. Of course, we know that, okay, reforms they make changes people's life, affect people's life positively or negatively. Their actions and inactions can affect our life in one way or the other. But this is it. If your state governor is collecting security vote, is collecting allocation every month, and yet they can't account for any project or any infrastructure in your state, then you know that the problem is from your state government, it's from your governors, not just the president alone. I'm not here to support the president alone, because it's a flawed system that is causing all this problem. The power at the center is too much for one person to control, and this is the reason why we need to start putting and mounting pressure on the central government, on everybody, on the people who, the stakeholders who are supposed to promote or who are supposed to implement this, to think about this and implement it, because this thing the Patriots are pursuing didn't just start yesterday or today. It's something they've been doing for over so many years, and it's more than a decade they've been doing it. After the 2014 confab that they came together to continue pursuing this whole to pursue this agenda, to ensure that this agenda holds water and see the lights of the day. You see that we've not been able to implement everything that was recommended in the 2014 confab, and it's affecting the country today. And that is the reason why we are proposing that the thing that they've itemized in the new constitution, they are calling on the federal government to look into, is also going to take the 2014 confab report and the plans and everything itemized into this current constitution they are planning, and even the aspect of the 1999 constitution that's very okay is also going to be accommodated as well, and the 1963 constitution as well is also going to be accommodated. But first, the first step we need to take to ensure that we better our lives, to ensure that this whole thing works, is going back to regional government, because the center will be divided and everybody will just go to their region, and every region will start functioning well. Look at when Awolowo was there, Nnamdi Azikiwe was there, and Ahmadu Bello was there. The north was doing well, the east was doing well, and the west, they were doing well, because there was serious competition between the three of them, because everybody was trying to ensure that their leader, their region comes out as the best, and their region is known on the world map, and their region gets the dividends of democracy, and they ensure that their region is developed. That was everything they were thinking then, even though they played divisionary politics, and they played tribal politics. Everybody did everything in the interest of their own region, and that's what we're supposed to be practicing now. Because if we are talking about this current system this unitary system that we're practicing, it's not making any sense. It's not working. It also accommodates mediocres, and this is the problem. This is what has brought us to this point, and this is what is making Nigeria stagnated today. And we need to keep on supporting the Patriots. We need to do everything we need to do as the masses, because the only thing we have in supporting the Patriots now is our voices, and is our engagement, and it's our support, and that is what we need to do. This is my own opinion on this issue. Can you drop what you have to say in the comment section? And if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel.